Peace, butterflies. Thank you for being here in this moment. You are currently listening to the Butterfly Experience podcast with myself, Imani Aliyah, as your host. I'm honored to be trusted with your time, space, and energy on this platform, and I'm sending you all love as we join together for this episode. Before we begin, I would like to give a disclaimer that the things I express in this episode are my own opinions and experiences, and if you need help working through your mind, body, or spiritual disease, I encourage you to reach out to a professional. Thank you. Now on to the episode. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Imani, host and founder of the Butterfly Experience podcast, where we are all about healing, connecting through transmutation, transformation, conversation, bars, and a bunch of other things that honestly you'll feel it more than I even have to explain or say it verbally. I'm really excited because today I have a very, very, very special guest, special friend, special being present with me, and I feel very grateful and honored to have him present. We have Sheen Anthony. Yes, clapping it at home. I was trying to say clapping it up at home, but I don't remember the exact moment that I met Sheen, but I do remember that every time I've seen him, it's been literally like looking into the face of a flower. That's actually a vision that just hit me. His energy is extremely healing and extremely refreshing and grounding and nurturing and safe. And every time he's been a part of anything I've done, or I've been a part of anything he's done, it's felt like a family reunion. He's funny as hell, actually. Very intelligent, very wise, and I'm just excited to have him as the first guest to have community and have conversations. So please, at home, give a warm welcome for Sheen Anthony.
Oh my goodness.
Feel free to introduce yourself however you like and require.
I get myself together.
Yes.
I thank you for even having me.
Yes,
truly.
so welcome.
Yes, I'm Sheen. I feel like everything you just said was just like the energy that I always have felt from you as well. So I really appreciate that reflection.
Absolutely.
I am a multi-dimensional creative being. I state that because I believe that there's nothing that we cannot do, there's nothing that we cannot be, and there's nothing that we cannot have. And I just like to affirm everything that it is that I'm capable of doing throughout all forms of creativity.
Absolutely.
It's all been just a journey of me finding myself. So that's really where I am right now.
I love that. I was looking at your page today to just get reacquainted with like your social media presence and energy, and you posted your last post was about how you affirm you're very aware. I don't remember the exact words you used, but you were stating how you were very aware of your time and how the reason being for that is because you affirm every space that you are in. And then you had like a list of affirmations of how just what you offer to spaces and things of that nature. So when I even reading that, I'm like, and then I'm about to have him like in this space and we're about to be together. So speaking of you affirming spaces and creating safe spaces, brave spaces for yourself and for people, you are an event designer of like a multi-dimensional, like every time I'm at your event, it's everything I require, everything I desire, and there's so many parts that address so many different parts of me and like my experience and what's required for the next step in my journey. So talk to me about how you got into community gatherings and events and designing experiences.
Wow. I didn't even think I would be a part of gathering any experiences at one point in my life. But it's just been a journey of me finding myself and then finding out how can I create these same experiences in other spaces. And I feel like it was the energy that made me feel empowered when I was at a different experience and was just like, like I could do this, or they could do this, I could do this.
Yes.
And it's also like the energy of like, what's the intention behind an event? And I think a lot of times we end up at events and may not know what is our intention. And overall, it may just be just to have fun, enjoy yourself. But I feel as though that sometimes we should be able to be in an event or the space and know exactly our intention of why we're there in that space. So I just wanted to create something that is healing right off the bat, where the intention is we're going to do some light work, but we're going to do some shadow work too.
Yes.
And we're going to do it in a way where it's still like receiving what we need.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even like the names, can you list some of the names of your events? Because it was like mindful meditation, right?
Yeah.
It's in the name.
Yeah, everything has always been in the name. When I started doing like painting with a purpose,
Right.
that was something that was like stemmed from the inspiration from being in Mars space, and she's painting and like doing art therapy.
Love you, Mars.
Yes, like and like it's just like that energy, and then like skating with a purpose. Like everything had a purpose. I was thinking about like how we can skate and we go into cycles and go into like, you know, you coming around to notice your full self. Like if you're skating, you may not know how to skate originally, but after you go around some time, you know, you getting your balance now.
Yeah.
Now you're like, okay, now you may not know how to do them turns, but when you come back around, you be like, all right, now I can shift with my body and do a little more. So you're learning yourself through that experience.
I love that.
You know?
I love that so much because you're speaking my language, because I'm always talking to people about how like physical things we do that are, you know, regular or normal be meaning something. Like I was explaining to somebody how I was studying under this, I wasn't studying under him, we were just friends, but like I looked at him like a mentor for real. So his name is Caselli. He's from a child band that I was in, a children's music band that I was in, but he was like the head of a few different gardens that had like different plants and crops and herbs and stuff. So he was explaining to me how you can go harvest. You can go harvest fruit or, you know, vegetables or whatever based on what you need. So for example, or what you require. So he was like, if you need to be grounded, if you want to be closer to Mother Earth, or like you need to dig within yourself or something, then go, you know, get some potatoes, because you actually have to dig for that. Well, I actually made that one up, but yeah. So he was just explaining how you harvest, or even like how you tend to something can have a spiritual meaning. So just you digging for the potato, you can have the intention of like, this is me digging into my subconscious or digging into my soul to like figure out what the truth is that I need to get to type time. So yeah, you really speaking my language. And I know how to roller skate. It's ice skating for me. Ice skating is the one that you won't catch me doing.
Oh yeah.
And I used to have, it was this girl that went to my middle school. She used to be like twists and turns and could jump and put her leg up and all that other stuff. Y'all got that. But I like the roller skating idea. So you did a skate event, like a roller skating event.
Yeah, just like just aligning where we can all go, either to Philly Skateplex, which was called the Palace before, or just planning the bus ride to go to Millennium Skate World out in New Jersey.
Okay. I only ever heard of Rolling Thunder. That was the only skate park I've ever heard.
I'm good off Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, no, and that's apparently like everybody's joiner like
love them, but
don't. And I've been a couple times, and it's been like a very interesting experience. It's always super out the way to get there, and then the experience is really interesting. But anyway, okay, noted. There are other skating rinks. I like how they have one at Penn's Landing now, and then they do have one at Dilworth Park.
Yep.
So I'm down for either. I'll experience either. So you have skating, you have meditating with a purpose, painting with a purpose, and I like how even if it's not like just telling just saying the word purpose can have people come up with their own and be aligned with their own. It don't even got to be like you're naming the purpose necessarily. You're just letting them know this does have a purpose. So it's gonna have a purpose for whatever you require. Tell me about, well, not necessarily skating, unless you want to talk about it. What do those art forms like mean for you? Like, why are those the type of events you had? That's the type of art form you presented for people.
Well, I feel like in each attribute of my life, I realized that I learned myself throughout that creative aspect. So I was thinking about like skating. I'm like, I've been skating from like high school and college, but it wasn't something I took seriously. I was just like, I'm just doing this just to do it. But then I realized there was actually so much fun that felt called to do it. And when I inspired my step hop to start skating, that's what made him want to like really get there with me. Like, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, I inspired him to the point where he was like, oh, I want to buy my own skates. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. To the point where he want to almost break his cranium down there practicing in the basement. And I'm sitting here like, listen.
Committed.
Yes, committed to break his neck. But he was also committed to get it down pat. Because he was like, I don't want to get there. He said, I don't want to get to his skate rink and look stupid. You're like, no, I want to just get myself to where I need to be. And I was like,
he cared about that.
Yeah, I'm like, it's interesting that you really went out your way to make sure that you were still secure in himself. Like making sure he's stable in himself to be able to do it outwardly.
Oh, that's a word. Hold up. That is a word. Making sure you are secure within yourself so that you can do it outwardly. I love that he cared about how he was going to present himself and be secure within, y'all connection.
Literally.
That's noted for all types of connections, baby. I love that.
All of the creativity. Yes. All the creativity. Like, I was thinking about that too.
What was his sign?
He a Leo.
Leo? That fire.
Shout out to the fire.
I'm going to shine, baby. I'm going to make sure I'm going to shine at this goddamn skating rink. Period. Okay.
That's exactly that fire energy. Like he's like, I don't want to look dumb in front of them people.
Yeah, fuck no.
Like, oh, man.
Practicing, okay, in the basement, baby. So when I show up, y'all going to see the practice.
But I told him to be careful because that basement ain't no level playing field like the
that's
ring.
another thing. So he was in the was the basement big?
The basement ain't that big. he just moved it around and moved to make a little space, you know. But the fact that it start like this and then it did, you only know that because you on wheels. I never peeped that because it's just the basement, you know. I'm just looking.
Shout out to your uncle and his commitment. I manifested that level of commitment. You said, wait, it was Pop Up or Uncle?
It's Pop.
Yo, Pop Up. You had Pop Up in a basement committed like that. That's your energy. That's a different type of being able to move people, being able to inspire people. You got Pop Up downstairs in a roller skates. Wow, I love that. That makes me have another question, but I do want you to continue going through your art forms and why you chose them.
Well, that's just that aspect of myself, was the skating, and then painting and like meditating. That was something that's helping me like finding myself too. I didn't think that I would ever be claiming myself to be an artist, or at least being identified as an artist, just naturally from my expression. So I didn't even think that, and now I'm like, okay, now I'm able to help other people like release their energy, because I think a lot of times people look at other people's creativity and they compare themselves, and then they take themselves down and dim their own light to now feel as though they gotta paint like that. Like, in order to be a painter, I have to paint a whole face, or I have to paint scenery. I need to paint like what's his name, Bob Ross. Like, it's just like, I'm not that type of artist, but every person is their own artist in their life. Just, I believe, just by natural breath of you existing.
I believe the same thing. I love that. And you're a fascinating painter. I think the first time I saw your work like in person was when we were here for Mars event. I forget which one that was. It was all aligned in the wall though, like all aligned. It
was all
on the wall. And I was experiencing it. And when I was thinking about you today and like preparing mentally to connect with you and have conversation with you, the thing that comes to mind every time I think about your paintings is there's always seems to feel like there's a figure in Zen, one, like a being in Zen, and two, rainbows. Like, it's colorful. I feel like I see a rainbow in most of your, from the ones I've seen, in most of your paintings, because I know those two got there. I think this one has a little bit of rainbow in it too.
Yes,
it got the whole damn rainbow. See? Period. And I love that, because I know that you are very connected with like chakras and things of that nature. And that also makes me think of the rainbow with all of the colors and like auras and things. So why does that happen?
I feel
with the rainbow, what do you feel?
It's always alignment. I'm always thinking about alignment. I want to be in my best self at that present moment, and I want to be my authentic self. So I feel like when I realize that my authentic self is connected to the electromagnetic spectrum, and that electromagnetic spectrum is connected to these lights and these colors, these energies, there's a reason why I always feel called to do a rainbow, more so just noticing that this is me without a vessel.
I love that. I love that. And as you're talking, I'm like thinking about the pants. Wow.
I'm like, this is a part of my vessel. Like, naturally, it's just so interesting that, and like, shout out to TJ for being able to put my logo on the shirt, because the shirt not done. This is just the beginning. But I still feel like white is another part of the color spectrum, because once you get to the top of of purple, and then after that, it's like those are colors that are probably not going to be foreseen by your physical eye. So most of the time, it could be perceived to be white.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That, because I was already wild and like in awe, and then you ended with that point. I'm like, that's interesting. It's perceived as white. I love that. So, do you have like a favorite color, or is it like all of them?
It's honestly the rainbow.
It's the rainbow.
Because like if a color could be, that's why I said this is not done yet, because I really want to make a fashion line. So this is a part of having the brand, but I want to make these like different colors. And like those colors is definitely gonna be a mix of colors. The same way you see the painting is definitely gonna be something like
an ombre, stuff like that.
Just something that just mixes a different like aura in each one. So I think like all the colors is my favorite color, but I would say like, I guess my main favorite color would be like gray, which is very interesting.
Gray is my favorite color to wear. Like, it's so cozy and cute. Like, I used to wear gray all through in my entire high school career, y'all. Like, I love gray.
It's such a great color.
And I love when it's a gray day and you just got big old windows that you're just sitting in front of.
And think about gray for a second.
Okay.
Gray is like if you take all the colors of the rainbow and mix them up.
That's more like brown though, right?
I feel like sometimes it could be black, sometimes it could be gray, sometimes it's like it got different hues depending on how much color you put into it. Like, of course, of each one of the color spectrum is going to depend on how much you put in there.
Yeah, because they're going to take a different energy. I love that, because that's life. Like, and that's why I love that you're going to do multiple colors in your fashion line, because you want to give people the opportunity to meditate, manifest, you know, on what they require. Like, they're the color that they require in that moment and stuff. But yeah, you definitely right. You definitely right.
Get a little mix.
And this is making me think. I had another. So let's sidetrack back to something that you said a little bit earlier. So you were mentioning how you never thought you would identify as an artist, or like this would, where you are in your life now would be a thing. So talk to me about, what did you think it would be before, and like what changed your mind? How was that journey?
What I thought it was gonna be before.
Yeah.
So I thought I was about to be a chef.
Yes,
that was
because the baking, baby, honey. I meant to mention that. I meant to ask you, like, so you want to bring some brownies?
Oh.
I should have said something, but regardless, because everybody talks. Is it your brownies everybody talks about? It's something. Muffins or something. The baking, baby. It's something to have. I had it at mindful meditation. Baby, it's something to have. I think it was a muffin or something. It wasn't all dry. The top wasn't
the
too
red velvet
hard.
and
It was given. I'm gonna give y'all a ASMR moment. We're gonna have Sheen come back with all of the treats, and I'm gonna try them and just give y'all a little ASMR moment. But yes, so talk about what you thought you were gonna be a chef. What you are. You are absolutely still a chef, because everybody talks about your baking goods. I've never also had like your food. I had the baking, but I seen you posting about like baked mac and cheese was it mac and cheese?
No, wait,
it was a cheesecake. It was a cheesecake.
Yeah,
so I still haven't seen your like food, but honey, I'm sure that's good too.
Yeah,
so you thought you were gonna be a chef, but you are.
Yes, I am.
Continue.
It was the energy of me thinking that was it. Like that was it. Like yeah, that's why I was like, all right. I thought I was gonna be a chef in the mindset of, I have to have a restaurant, I have to have a bakery, or I have to have something underneath my name. I have to be an LLC. Like something about me representing a certain business or entrepreneurship. Like instead of just being like, I can be.
You can be.
Just be. And
that is really my big thing.
I know it is.
Because you're multi, right? Period. That's me. Multi-dimensional, and it's just like, why would you want to put yourself in such a restrained, like, I can only have this journey, this is the path, that is it. Like, no, twist and turn, get on a motorcycle, maybe walk, maybe fly, shit, whatever you want to do. So what are some of the challenges that you feel like you faced as you came to terms with the fact that you are a multidimensional being?
The challenges was myself, was my mindset. The mindset has to be changed, because when I realized that the reason why I thought I was just going to be a chef was because that's what I was going towards in the institution. Like I had to think about it in that manner. When you think about it as like, okay, yes, we all had to be in school, and yes, that's the energy that we have to go through, but that's only if your family pushes that onto you and makes it seem as though that this is the only way to reach your version of success. So once I went into the mindset of being like, okay, I'm at a technical trade high school, so I'm going to choose culinary because I'm not about to choose any of these other joints. I was like, I don't want to do construction, I don't want to do welding, I don't want to do fire academy. So I was like, I'm going to be a chef. That was only because that's what I felt guided to do, because I was already cooking at home and I was already baking at home. But once I maneuvered into that, I was like, okay, I can go to a college for this. I thought that the college I would be going to would just be about cooking. Not that I was still going to get the same institutional learning, the academic side of it inside of the college. So after that, I'm like, okay, well, what else is there then? If it's just this. Now I got that say that I have to do this in order to make a living, to be able to pay the debt. So like just looking at that cycle, I had to get out of that cycle. As I realized that my mindset was conditioned on how I viewed success for myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very layered. It's very layered. I feel like I love how you started by saying like yourself. Like one of the challenges was yourself, because it's really inner. Like it's really like, granted, it's your inner can sometimes be, a lot of times, be super influenced by all this exterior shit. But then sometimes you really can't change the exterior shit in that moment. Like, and if you, to get to the point of being able to, you have to go within. You have to like, what is it? And it's so crazy because like all these people had all this shit to say when they wanted me to do this one thing. Now I'm trying to like figure out for myself like who I am and what I want to do, and it's like, oh god, no, like now all these people is not here, and it's, you really have to sit with yourself. Like you really have to unlearn basically. So let me put it this way too. So it'd be so many teachers, teachers, right, that teach this or preach, and then when you're trying to like find who you are and like create this own path, nobody's there to help you unlearn. Like be a teacher in unlearning. You become that teacher, and source, you know, spirit, the universe, becomes that teacher. So it's a very powerful journey, but it can be very difficult. And unlearning, that shit is harder than learning. It's harder than learning what the fuck you was learning. Now you gotta unlearn that shit. Tying the knot is always easier than undoing the damn shit.
I just learned this. I just heard this yesterday about how between the ages of, I guess, 0 and 7 years old, that's the easiest age to be programmed. That's the easiest age for your mind to be programmed. Yeah, because technically you're in a low vibrational state. You're in theta state. So if you're in theta, it's easy for your mind to be programmed towards what you're going in. And it's very interesting that you got children already going in school, which turned into like a babysitting service, then turned it into school from 4 all the way up till you done hit 20. Like, come on now. Like 25, 26, 27. You just really gotta think about that. Like, how are we in this entire system this entire amount of time? That's why it's so difficult to unlearn it. Because you done already been forced to program.
At your most vulnerable state.
At your most vulnerable state. Now you think this is it. Like, so you gotta break your own bubble that's not even really your energy. That's someone else's energy. Or someone else's structure. So yeah, that's what really helped me, just breaking out of that structure. But it was hard finding out your own structure. Yo,
because I always talk about that. We could talk all day about what we breaking from or what we don't want, but you realize now you got to build something new, right? Yes. And that part, like, niggas like, yeah, I'm gonna break free. Fuck this shit. Oh shit. All right, where I'm gonna be at though? Like, where I'm gonna exist? What am I going? Like, it's really wild. And it's beautiful though. And so it's like, I applaud people, including myself and, kinfolk and all of that, and anyone out there who is like breaking from something, and then now you're on the journey of like, I gotta build something. And sometimes you don't even get all the tools. Ain't nobody trying to let you barter for tools. You don't got enough money to pay for tools, like all types of stuff. And then for some people, you gotta start really creating tools out of like magic, like thin air, like start creating your own tools. So speaking of tools too, what are some tools that you feel like have really helped you in those challenging moments? And it could be something that's like clearly it could be physical tools, if like tarot is a physical tool, things like that, but mental behaviors or patterns or practices, physical stuff, like what are just some things that help you heal and get you to this point and you feel like will get you further type time?
Definitely my mental capacity and communicating. Yeah, communicating. Communication has been the biggest thing for me, because I felt like I always ended up in situations that wasn't in my best favor, and I was trying to figure out how. And it's mainly because I wasn't taking the time to communicate exactly why I'm here or why am I present. So that helps me with maneuvering my energy. And then it definitely was a form of meditation when I realized that everything is meditation. That was really my mindset when I went into that, and that's what made me be, I guess, multidimensional at this point, when I'm able to realize that every aspect of what I'm doing is a meditation. So I had to think about it that way, so I can transmute the energy and release it. Definitely poetry. That's another one.
Yes, because it's another thing that you do.
Yes. Poetry helped a lot.
Okay. And when did the poetry journey start for you?
What they call it? When quarantine phase.
Okay.
That's like that energy was when me and like 11 other poets were on Zoom night after night. We was basically sleeping together through Zoom.
Wow.
Because we would really be like just doing writing prompts. Like after we got to know each other really closely, we started doing writing prompts. We started just going into just creating freely, and all of this energy started to like fester within myself of being inspired and like continuously wanting to like grow in my poetry. And then I realized that value that I had from just being around them made me just want to just explore and see where that was going to lead me.
Wow. And who organized the Zooms?
Who was it? Her name is President Ella. She's in New York. It's like it was a whole bunch of poets. Like it was just a lot of us.
I love this little underground community.
It was.
We
called ourselves the kitchen. We was La Cocina, the kitchen.
Wow, that's so lit. I love that. I love how much community was birthed out of quarantine. Like the world is telling you everybody's separate and we're so separate, or like you can't do anything, or like they're making it so dry, and then it's people who truly benefited from that shit, who like truly were reminded of who they are, found their community, found source, found God.
Definitely found source.
I love that for you.
Closer with source each time. Like all of that needed to happen. I feel like everybody had like this birth of energy within themselves, because that was another thing, getting terminated from that job just before all of that.
Okay.
I was like, the same energy you said earlier. I'm just like, okay, now what? Because I knew I didn't want to work there all my life, but now it's like, all right.
Right.
Now you're on your
Gotta
own.
be like, okay, cool, boom.
Yeah.
Do something, baby. Make it pop. Yes, no, I felt that.
Real quick.
I felt that, and you
Yes.
did, and you're abundant and successful and admired and adored by so many people. Like anybody I bring Sheen up to be like, I love Sheen. Like they love you, and I know and trust that it is because of number one, the love you cultivate for yourself, and then the love you give to the world. When you move with love, that shit is reflected to you tenfold. Anything you do will be reflected to you or given back to you tenfold. So it's like it's just a reflection of how much beauty you have inside, literally like a flower. And I love it. Yeah, it's truly deserved. I think that, and it's interesting for me because I never really, like how I was introducing you, I never thought about that. Like I feel like I just got the visual of what being around you is like with the flower, like looking into a flower. That just hit me, and I love when that happens, when it like divine timing. I love that it happened like on the podcast in this beautiful, we're literally in like a fortress of butterflies and Sheen's colors and beings, and it's just amazing.
Oh my goodness.
How do you feel like looking at your artwork? Just look, first of all, how do you feel about this set? How do you feel about this energy, the space, and how do you feel about just looking at your art? Like that's a two-parter, but
It is a two-parter.
I love asking loaded shit.
It's
like
okay. That's that fire.
Yes, it's the fire, baby. Said.
I feel as though, like, first off, being in this space, like, I also just feel like when you set the intention behind having a butterfly be the unit of the podcast, I just feel like that's about an ongoing metamorphosis.
Yes.
And like people don't realize that they go through different phases sometimes. Like you're not always meant to be a caterpillar, but you can be if you want to. But when you break out of that, like that conditioning that we talked about earlier, and then you go inside your chrysalis, which was like the quarantine, and then you go in there and you start asking yourself like, what do you want to do? Who are you? What is your source? What is your purpose? What is your intention? What's your why? And you dig deep into yourself, then it's going to still take some time for you to just blossom and still go through that like activation or ascension, or and it's always going to be a butterfly. So like that energy, I feel like is what I feel like just by being in the space, and the fact that I can be a flower for the butterfly.
Yes.
Like what? Like,
wow, I just peeped that too, like a flower and a butterfly. They have a whole relationship.
It's always a relationship because the butterflies is like called by high frequencies, and I would only think that something that's already growing out the ground, growing through legacy, growing with the divine source energy will be connected. Like as we have here.
Right, yes.
Like
With the water and the flow and everything is so divine. I love that. And I'm gonna share this. I know there's more to that question that I asked you, but really quick, I want to share with you too. Like I was telling TJ this, like last night I had a really like sad night with my family. It was just like a lot going on, and when I got up today, I was still feeling that energy. And I also got up a little bit later than I had required to get here at the time I wanted to. So it was just like I had to, like you said, everything is a meditation, right? I had to like find my ease and like meditation as I was also still getting ready. Like also like I have to go do this thing, and it's, it is business to it as well as it's, pleasure and things like that. So I was telling TJ, I'm like, oh, like I feel, I feel disappointed and sad that like my energy isn't at its most pristine for Sheen, because I see you as such a high energy being, and like I wanted to be able to provide that for you. Like I wanted to be able to like have a certain energy or whatever like that, and I didn't feel like it just wasn't given, and I couldn't force I couldn't force it at the moment. So I'm setting up and everything, I was trying to prepare, but I had to tell TJ, number one, part of that comes from like my own insecurity or like fear of the fact that like sometimes you aren't good enough in some way, whether it's like, and I wasn't exactly saying this, so I'm kind of saying it in a new way, but I've had toxic points in my life. I've had points where like I didn't think I should be doing a podcast. I should just be doing music, things like that. And they'll come to bother you, and you start to feel unprepared and unready to now like welcome this being who you have on a pedestal. And now granted, like I still will have myself and you on a pedestal, but it can become in a way where again, like you doubt yourself and you kind of let those insecurities come up. And I had to remind myself like, Amani, like you're good. What you offer is also valuable. What you are bringing to the table is valuable, even if you're having a sad day. Even if your energy isn't at its highest. And another thing I had to remind myself, and I don't remember if I said this out loud or not, is that even thinking about the fact that you lead with love. Like I don't even think you would come here and see like I wasn't at my highest, be like, see, that's why I shouldn't do this shit. I'm leaving, like, fuck you, fuck your energy, type shit like that. It wouldn't be that. And I was explaining to TJ how I could also make you aware of my energy, and even ask if like we could have a moment to, if you were in good energy, I could ask for consent in a moment to like share some of that with me. Like, can you lead me through some affirmations? Lean on friends. But I also told him that even if you were to say no, like I kind of just, want my energy to myself, whatever, I have the tools to go step aside, be like, okay, well, I just need 5 minutes. I'll come back with, my energy a little higher. I say all of that to say, when we're thinking about, when you just, you affirmed it for me in that one sentence where you said like butterflies are, attracted to light and attracted to high frequency beings. I'm like, that says something about me. It felt affirming to me, basically. No, money, you're high frequency, you got that shit together, and like you cool, and you could be around like healing people. You are also a healer, you know what I'm saying, even on your sad days. So that was a long spiel, but it all ties into like, I truly appreciate you saying that, and seeing the light in me. And you see how when you're connected with somebody, they will do little things, or not even like little things are actually big things, but like subtle things, or like subconsciously do shit that affirm shit in you that you might not even have expressed to you, because might not even have expressed to them, because I didn't even tell him that type shit. But something in him. Okay, I'm gonna continue this thought, because I was about to say, it reminds me of when you said like energetic consent, and how like, we took that moment before we started filming. It reminds me of the spiritual connection that we do in the beginning of Cultivate Your Light, where it's like we spiritually consent and introduce ourselves before physically.
Right.
That shit is so powerful.
Yes,
it's
literally.
so powerful.
Like that. Oh my goodness. And then to answer the second part about your question.
Yes.
This is the flower each time. Like growing through everything that we go through. Like I feel like the connection with the butterfly and the flower and the trees, like I always end up doing trees of longevity or trees of legacy, which makes me think about our DNA and how we're like really grounded in our legacy as well. So this is the type of energy that I think about a butterfly as well, when it comes to like who we are and affirming your spiritual journey, and noticing that you can say these same affirmations, like you said, transferring affirmations. The energy of only brought these pieces. The energy of these pieces being affirmations is like already like a synchronicity I'm thinking about too when you said that.
And that's divine too. So I would love if you feel it aligns for you to read this to our listeners. But before we do that, that's another thing. That is one of the things I appreciate about you most, is your voice. It's like your vocals, the way you vibrate particles around you, because that's what sound is. Like that, the way you do that is very beautiful. So, and especially like as a vocal coach, like I teach people how to sing, yes, but also just like guide them back into what their voice is, and taking ownership and using it for their own personal power, as well as to inspire others, all of that. So my vocal classes are more than just like, this how you do runs, this how you belt. It's so much more than that. But the way something I really appreciate is your voice, the way it sounds. It's just, it gives strength and power. It gives strong. Every time I hear you say, like, I remember even anytime I've been in a meditation with you, it's like, it's deep, and it comes from such a grounded, and I want to say buried, but not in a bad way. Like, it's nothing bad about the bury, like how it's buried, but it comes from such a buried place and springs up. And it's so deep and full, and yes, it's so deep and full in color and feeling. So like your voice is extremely moving, like, and extremely beautiful. And I love how you do not dial it. I've never seen you dial it down. Like I've never seen you be like, I'm gonna be cool. Even if you do choose to be quieter in the moment, it doesn't feel like, because of other people, but you always are like, this is my voice, and it shines through. Like it literally shines through. So I say all of that to give gratitude and, honor the fact that we have a vocalist in the building. Like real shit. But also I have so many questions about that. The first one that I'll share is like, what has your voice done for you? Because it seems like it's done a whole lot. And I know it's done hell of a lot for many people around you, me being one of them.
Yo, I'm still taking it in every time.
I feel you, take your time.
Because I just said this the other day. I said, I'm still stepping into the fullness of my voice. And it's like, interesting. When you're talking, it's just like, yes, I'm listening. I am attentive. Like, speak, king, period. Oh my God. But go ahead. Yo, no, I really appreciate just gratitude to you, for real. I'm Absolutely. Just like, I'm still stepping into like the fullness of my voice. I'm like still identifying where my voice is, exactly like where I feel it coming from. And I do feel like it's coming from my source, but it's very interesting how I've had this voice all along, and all I've been told, you know, like especially like in school and stuff, is like, oh, Rashid is such a great student, but he keep talking, and like he keep talking to his classmates nearby, and you know, sometimes that subconsciously puts like a little dim on your light with your voice, like you just like, well, is it me talking that gets me into these situations? Like, what am I doing? Is it expressing myself? Like, so I used to always come from the way of like kind of introverting my voice, where I only speak to those I need to speak to, and if I don't need to speak, then I'm just not speaking. And now I'm in this point where I'm like, oh, okay, I can express and be myself in all spaces because I deserve it. I deserve greatness because I am greatness. So I'm going to speak as if that is the energy that I'm always going to feel, and I want to do that so that person can acknowledge the greatness within themselves, because I'm not putting myself on a pedestal to be like I am greater than anyone. Like, no, it's more so it's like we're equal, and we can be greater together by just making ourselves unite, you know.
Oh, y'all better be snapping at home, baby. I love that. And it's so, and I had to make the little side comment about even when you're just talking, because it's like when you cultivate something, even when you're not consciously being like, I'm going to show this thing, it shows up because you cultivate it when nobody's looking, you cultivate it when it's hard, you know, so your light is always there. So even when you're just having casual conversation, there's so much intention and purpose, like by accident, right? Because you cultivate that shit daily, period. But yeah, so what? Real shit. It's a beautiful thing. And when you said you know that it comes from source, I feel that, like, how I see it is like there's this, you know how when in space videos sometimes, like when they look at planets, they play like this like or something, like when you in space or something. I see like a big ass, like the sun, like a big ass ball of light, and it's this like beam that's coming from it, and like that's your voice. Like the beam comes straight from whatever that star is, whatever that ball of light is, into your being, and it just whatever. And mind you, it's probably loud as shit. Like if we were to actually get close, we don't know what that shit really sound like. So if we were actually to get close to like the sun or you know, source or something like that, who knows what it would sound like? We probably wouldn't even use that sense to experience it. Like who fucking knows? But it's like niggas is honored to hear your voice because you put it. And I say this about music, and I say this about my music all the time in a different way. But like we get to kind of like hear what source sounds like a little bit, and you experience that through different people's talent. Like, so for example, if somebody's like really into painting, and it's like you get to experience, because if source gave you that gift and it's a reflection of source, then you're getting a piece of that. So we're getting a piece of like what source sound like, a piece of what source looks like, you know, or what source gets to see. Now we get to see it type shit. So it's just like I feel the power, I feel the strength and where you come from, and even if I don't necessarily know where it is, wherever that shit is that shit is powerful. It's amazing. And I be listening like, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I feel like you, just yeah. Was you about to say something?
No, or I'm just honoring the fact that you're saying any of this, because I just came from an event yesterday where we were sound healing, and it was like a last minute. It was a last minute thing, but it was like divinely orchestrated. Clearly, it wasn't that last minute. It was divine timing. Right, they was planning that up in the store. Right, and I was there, and I ended up bringing all my bowls there, and it was a dance medicine event, and it was just like. Like everybody was just expressing themselves and just being free, and then I was just able to come up there with the sound bowls and just start playing and just see where my voice was able to take me as well. She put a microphone in front of me. I did not know there was gonna be a microphone present in front of my mouth. So now I'm saying like, oh, okay, well, I'm going with the flow of this is calling me to share my voice alongside with my sound bowls. And I feel like when you said that, as far as like a beam of light, that's the same thing that I think about during your vocal training, when you was talking about like just seeing and seeing how far you can go, especially if you're outside in nature and we was over there by the water and by the reservoir center. It's just like, wait a minute, like just see if you could shoot all the way past the water, and that's the energy that I think about anytime when I share my voice. It's literally that. It's just like, how can I not just project, but how can I feel this from my soul? So like you said, growing from my source on out, and then to beam it out to be able to heal others.
I love that, and it made me think. Well, real quick before I say this too, TJ, how long we been doing this? How long has the conversation been?
About 40 minutes, 45.
Okay, cool. So cool. We coming to closer to the hour. I bet. I like to get, thank you, gratitude. I'm so excited. I just be moving sometimes, but you gotta stop and make sure you acknowledge and give gratitude. But I love to get like abstract and super creative with different talents, because I really believe like things that are intangible are tangible, low key, and like things that don't connect actually do connect. Because I wonder, like, so say, you know, one of your talents is like having your voice. So what if like you could, one of your sessions or like a healing, like if you were a personal healer or something like that for like one-on-one sessions, and literally like the person just sits in the room and you like speak to their feet, speak to their shins, speak to their thighs, speak to their hips, speak, and like just work. Like I just wonder, that shit would be so fire. Like, and it'd be a healing thing. Like you're using your voice to like activate different parts of the body and shit like that. Because I know, you know, massages and shit like that is a thing. That's what people would normally think when it comes to that. But like I wonder, like just your, you don't gotta physically touch anybody. Like it's just like in this room, the sacred space that I've set up, I'm going to like speak to your body and like activate your senses and shit.
That's so interesting you say that, because I kind of already do that.
Really?
Yeah, like so my spiritual healing has been one-on-one like sessions when it comes to Reiki massage and the sound healing. So I always have my sound bowls present in the room. But now that I've been becoming more stronger with strengthening my frequency, I've been adding my frequency with the sound bowls. So I've been like using that when it comes to speaking affirmations, and even if that takes them on a trance in their own journey, they still feel present with that energy. And then adding my voice with the sound bowls to be able to speak to certain alignments. So like I'll always do a consultation first before I start manifesting on what bowl would help them release the disharmonious energy.
Likewise, I love it. Hearing you talk about your one-on-one sessions and how you are a teacher and a healer and things, it makes me feel affirmed. Because sometimes I do have the thought of like, yo, I really be out here teaching, no degree, no nothing. Yeah, baby experience, being prepared and built and created and manifested by fucking gods. Like
everyone's a teacher.
That's my goddamn what is it called? Like my degree, baby. Yeah. Real quick, as far as speaking to alignment, can you read this for us?
Oh yes. Let's see what's going on here.
So beautiful.
So a first in the corner here is affirm your spiritual journey. I feel like everything is spirituality. Breath is spirituality. Just the fact that we are in this vessel is spirituality. So this will be affirming yourself. I feel like when we have a tree of legacy growing, we realize like the spiral within that. There's a constant infinite energy that is ciphering through our vessel to even be able to continue on this journey, to realize anything that could be, you know, duality, or it can just be yin and yang. It can be loved by the moon, exists by the sun. It could be divine feminine, it could be divine masculine. So that energy is what I was thinking here with the colors. And this says, I am divine, I am powerful, I am unique, I am healing, I am exhilarated, I am loving, I am calm, I am peaceful, I am patient, I am radiant, I am abundance, I am connected, I am outstanding.
Outstanding. Ashe.
I am powerful.
Yes.
And this is the energy that everyone that I asked a word from. I was at an event, I was painting this live, and then I asked them like, who got a word? What's a word that helps you affirm yourself throughout your spiritual journey? And that word that they gave me, I wrote it up there.
Wow. So with this one, with this painting, so this beautiful souls all connected into this. Wow, that is very divine.
Because I was just like, y'all words getting longer and longer. Exhilarated. I am exhilarated. I was like,
I like that one. That one hit for me because the word activated and exhilarated has just been giving. It's been doing it for me. Like activation, I don't know, it's giving. I love it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like, and there's also like a sensual energy to it, like of rising and becoming aware and excited to do something. Like what you trying, yes, let's do it. What we trying to do, like what we trying to manifest. I really like exhilarated hit me. Calm hit because I was calming myself down earlier. Like when I was touching my, I'm like, it's okay, like relax. Everything is well, you are safe type time. And outstanding. I liked abundance because I like telling myself I am abundant. Like I'm the abundance. Because yes, you know, get the bag, yes, you know, get the resources, get the community, all of those things, absolutely. But I am abundance. Like so anywhere I am, however I'm existing is abundant. But I like outstanding. I like that. Like I stand out, baby.
All the time. That's a part of our radiant light. And I was also thinking about the divine feminine energy stemming from these types of colors as well. Because I feel like a lot of us are healing the other attributes of ourselves. Like, so like if you're a man, you're healing the divine feminine energy within yourself. If you're a woman, you're healing the divine masculine energy within yourself. And I'm feeling that like right now with our ascension.
Too. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. I was having a conversation. So I had a friend. So the night before last night got really hectic, but I had a friend that was, thank goodness he was there to like help me divine in his divine feminine and masculine energy. He was there to like guide me and protect me through the rest of that night, which I really appreciated. And he happened to be 29. And then the next day I met a guy. Well, actually, you know, Waffle.
Oh yeah.
I knew him already, but we happened to have an actual connection like yesterday. And so I was talking to him, having a conversation with him, and he also shared that he was 29. And I was like, yo, it gave very angel number because they both were such beautiful reflections of each other, and I feel like I really connected with them. Like one that night, the next person that day. I'm mentioning, why am I mentioning that? Oh, I'm mentioning that because he talked about, I was telling him like, I think God is putting me. Let me back up also. So during the full moon, I had a breakthrough about how I express my sexuality and like my masculine feminine energy and how there's still pain there and like there's still trauma and it's causing confusion and dis-ease when it comes to how I want to show up in relationships and different things. So, you know, that's something I really want to heal, and also how I'm attaching this to my identity, all this other stuff. So there are things I want to heal. Anyway, I met the two amazing, beautiful young men, and then I was like, okay, clearly I know that God is put y'all in my life to tell me something about my masculine, because I was just having this conversation about my masculine and feminine energy. Then you put two men in front of me who are having those conversations, and I'm the only woman in the connection. And then I got up today, and Bahati Life, who is a astrologer and tarot reader who I love dearly, she posted the video literally said divine masculine energy and like needing to take space and shit like that. And I'm like, it all felt aligned. But I'm saying all of that because we talked about pink a lot too. Like pink was the topic of conversation that like the entire time. I mean, you see the pink frames. We wound up talking about that pink, and it's almost all of his artwork. But yeah, this is just, it's crazy because I started this podcast because I wanted to expose myself. You know, I wanted to tell my business and see if other people felt that they go through the same stuff. And I also wanted to have conversation, but you know, it's very much so a selfish thing. I want to talk. I want to talk to y'all. I want to listen to y'all. Like I want to know, you know, what you're trying, what you're into, what your story is. And I know that God is going to communicate to me what I require and desire for, you know, the next chapters of my life through people, through these conversations. So I feel affirmed. Like you being here is good for the podcast and the listeners, everything, but it's good as shit for me. And I love that for me because I deserve that type of abundance. So we are coming to a close of this conversation, but never of the connection, because y'all will be provided with Sheen's social media and things of that nature, so y'all can stay in contact. Also, you know, he does a lot of events, so he be at a lot of events, and he coordinates, cultivates a lot of events. Curates. That's what I was looking for. We love all the C's. All the C's. He does a lot of it, so you can always, you know, connect with him if it aligns for the both of you. But if there was anything you would want to leave our listeners with, you know, there's artists, there's entrepreneurs, there's people just being, like, you know, there's the college kids, the school kids, the mamas, the daddies, fashion designers. There's so many different types of people out there, the scientists, the mathematologists. Is that where it is today? It is today. I do that I love that type of energy because I'm always saying it's gonna be a word today. Like, fuck the English language. Y'all be making sense half the time anyway.
It's just a mix of different languages anyway.
Real rap is going, exactly. You know, where my native tongue at? Somebody, I need to know my native tongue, because this shit right here ain't it. That's why I'm always fucking up words, because I know this shit. I ain't supposed to be speaking this damn language.
But you be singing them words.
But I be singing them. When I be singing them, it be hitting different. You know, it be hitting a little different. Out of my spice. I'm screaming. But yeah, what would you want to leave us with in this conversation?
In this conversation.
And you could take time, think about it, you know. Because we could edit over here. This ain't live. Cut shit out.
Let me see. I feel as though what I would take from this conversation is that we are butterflies. That's really like the main thing that I feel, is that we are butterflies because our legacy is just infinitely growing. And sometimes we may go back into that cycle of going back into being a caterpillar, and sometimes go back to a chrysalis, and then energetically have to break free to your new self. Yes. But I feel like right now, like where we're at energetically with ascending, I feel like we're at a point where we're recognizing our true abilities. We're recognizing what it is that we want and what it is that we don't want. And we're also recognizing who we are at like the core. Like just breaking all of these layers and unlearning these layers of what's not you and what's been projected onto you. And then having the time to discover yourself, because you're now outside of any other structural, institutional mindset. You're now able to figure out your own mindset. So I feel like the butterfly is where I feel like we are ascending. Just continue to ascend. Continue to know who you are so you can keep reaching for a better feeling thought that will lead you to have a better connection with your source. Yeah. Oh, and read Four Agreements and Asking is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Ashe.
Those two Jones.
Love that.
Changed my life. Yeah.
Love that. Well, you also gave me an idea before we close. I think before we start, every time I'm gonna sage this, get this together, and have people like dip their fingers in it. Like, you know how the Apollo, you rub the stump and stuff? I think I'm gonna do that. So before you leave, I know we didn't get to do it before the conversation, but a little dip.
Just been anointed.
Yeah.
For a little drop on your third eye.
I love that. I'll be doing that. Absolutely.
A little anointment real quick.
Well, thank you. So much gratitude for joining me on this beautiful Monday rising and having this conversation with me. Thank you for existing and choosing to create. And then on top of that, choosing to create consciously. Like, there's so many good decisions within that. I'm sending you so much love and so much abundance and gratitude. And I just can't wait until, I can wait, but I'm excited for the next time that we have a conversation and that I get to see the flower again. Yes.
I appreciate you. Thank you for holding space. Thank you for being you. Thank you for existing. That's what I was going to say.
Yes, period. We be exchanging words. We be communicating here with it.
Yes.
Communicating here with it. But yeah. Well, butterflies, fly high.
Ooh. Gotta fly high.
I think that's going to be my thing.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you got what you needed. Again, what I express in these episodes is solely my experience and opinion and is not to be taken as professional or legal advice. If you need either of those, I encourage you to see a professional. Until next time, fly free, beautiful.